ATX and the motherboard is micro ATX. It means that the motherboard will look small and the case will look big, which is not ideal. Of course, compatibility won't be an issue, but the reason why I didn't put a micro ATX case here is because it wouldn't fit the RTX 4090, or it would fit it but just slightly. So trust me, I don't want you to go through a headache while building this PC. That's why I chose a big case, and if you want everything to match, I recommend you upgrading the motherboard to an ATX motherboard and not downgrading the case to a micro ATX one. Then for the power supply, we have the Enermax Revolution DF 850 watt 80 plus watt power supply. This is 8-tier rated and $110, which is a really decent price for a power supply like this one. The total price for this PC is $2,250, and as I said before, I wouldn't recommend you spending anything less than this if you want the RTX 4090 on your system, because that would mean that you are getting a worse CPU, which will bottleneck the RTX 4090. If you have a bit of extra money, for $50 extra, you can get 32 gigs of RAM of DDR5 memory and 2 terabytes of Gen 3 SSD. The reason why I do recommend you making this upgrade is because you're gonna be able to download a bunch of more titles. It's gonna give you more space to, if you're a content creator, and having 32 gigs of RAM will give you a better performance for streaming, content creation, and productivity work. So if you're looking to do any of the three, having 32 gigs of RAM is actually essential, and the price difference between 32 gigs of RAM and 16 gigs is not that much, so I would recommend you doing this upgrade for just $50. And then if you have more money, for $2,530, I upgraded the CPU cooler, and motherboard. For the CPU, we have the Ryzen 7 7700X in CPU demanding titles. For games that are more GPU bound, this will make basically no difference, but for games like Flight Simulator, this is where the CPU does its best. Now, if you're looking to play games like Valorant or CSGO or Fortnite, yes, these titles are more CPU demanding, so having the Ryzen 7 7700X will give you more performance. But the thing is that for any of these titles, even with the 7600X, you're gonna be able to average way more than you need, and you're gonna be bottlenecked by your monitor refresh rate, because there's no 4K 360Hz monitor. So whether you get the Ryzen 5 7600X or the 7700X will not make a difference in those type of titles. Then because you get the CPU, you need a better CPU cooler, and I chose the Deepcool AK500 Ray CPU cooler for this Ryzen 7. You will have no issues with the CPU temps here, which is amazing for just $50 on the CPU cooler. And then for $190, we have the Gigabyte P650 Gaming X motherboard. This one is ATX, so it's gonna look better on the case that I've mentioned, and honestly it has a ton of features, so great motherboard overall. Just note that it doesn't have Wi-Fi included, so if you need Wi-Fi on your motherboard because you will not be connected via your Ethernet cable, you will have an option down below in the video description for the same price that has Wi-Fi from MSI. And another component I've upgraded is the power supply to the same Enermax Revolution DF2, but this time it's a 1050 watt power supply. That way we have no issues with the wattage required on the system. The total price is $2,540, and I do recommend you making this upgrade if, as I said before, you're gonna be playing high demanding CPU titles like Flight Simulator. Otherwise, the Ryzen 5 RTX 4090 combo is gonna be more than enough even for